We were going to do a list of the 10 best human action figures, but the field was a bit too large to distill down to just 10. Our proposed list of the 10 best wolf figures ended up being kind of boring. It was just 9 different variations of Snake Eyes Timber and 1 Jon Snow's ghost from Funko. So since it's Halloween season anyway, we decided to split the difference. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the 10 best werewolf action figures. As with all of our lists, we're not including anything from the 12-inch scale. No hot toys, no sideshow collectibles. The price point and degree of detail at that scale usually means that nearly the entire list would be exclusively from those brands, and it's not very much fun for us or for you when everyone already knows how the story ends. Number 10 is 1989 Kenner the Real Ghostbusters, the Wolfman monster. He's not the most posable werewolf on the list, but he's got an important feature that almost none of the other figures on the list have, and that's the ability to make him howl at the moon by squeezing his legs together. His head tips back and his jaw closes so he can sing his song to the full moon that drives his cursed existence. Since the Wolfman monster is not technically a ghost to be busted, I'm assuming that if the Ghostbusters did run out of ghosts, their proton packs work equally good at busting organic creatures as well, so they easily could have rebranded themselves as the Everything Busters or Nuclear Laser-Powered Execution Police whenever they felt like it. Number 9 is 1979 Remco Universal Monsters Wolfman 4-inch and 9-inch versions. The 4-inch figure is a 5 POA figure, just like the Star Wars figures that were hitting shelves at the same time. It's not the best likeness of Wolfman, but there is a regular and a glow-in-the-dark version. Bonus points will always be awarded for glow-in-the-dark. The 8-inch version has a cloth outfit just like the Mezco action figures that were hitting shelves at the same time, and also features monster crush, locking arms, gripping action. The best way to describe this is just a big monster hug. Bonus points for head and hands that glow in the dark. But the real reason these guys are on the list is that beautiful packaging design. Basically just a huge, stark, graphic image of the Wolfman's face with starburst callouts and high contrast text. So easy on the eyes, so beautiful on the pegs. Number 8 is 1997 Kenner Star Wars Power of the Force Lax Sivrak and 2007 Hasbro 30th Anniversary Collection Volviff Monn. Let's get it out of the way. They are technically aliens, not werewolves. I know, I get it, it's okay. Take the context away from them and you have 2 figures that are clearly half humanoid, half wolf creatures that may or may not change from one state to the other. They are figures that, on the surface, are werewolves carrying space blasters and laser swords. That's good enough for me, especially when you consider that in context, that they are both characters that exist in the Star Wars universe, one of whom is a Jedi Master. Are we absolutely sure that Luke is the last Jedi, like 100%? Because I'm down for Star Wars Episode 9. This is not going to go the way you think. Number 7 is 1997 McFarlane Toys Todd McFarlane's Monsters Werewolf Playset. Back in the 90s, McFarlane Toys was turning the industry on its ear, setting the pace and the standards for decades to come, pushing the amount of detail that could be featured in the sculpt and paint, as well as moving to a larger 6 to 8-inch scale. While it didn't last very long, Todd also attempted a series of monster figures with small diorama playsets at the 5-inch scale. Werewolf got a tree trunk in the woods setting that is most notable not for the 6 POA werewolf figure, which is an excellent werewolf, but more for the other figure he's packed with, known as Steve the Victim, due to his resemblance to a McFarlane Toys employee. Steve is a hunter who falls prey to the werewolf with limbs that can be removed to recreate the after portion of his encounter with the werewolf. Werewolf can even store all the dismembered parts for later use inside the hollowed out tree trunk. Number 6 is 2009 Mezco Toys The Wolfman, a 7-inch figure based on the 2010 remake of the classic 1941 Universal film of the same name, this time starring Benicio del Toro as the title lycanthrope. Another figure that sacrifices articulation in favor of sculpt and paint detail, Mezco's Wolfman is an excellent likeness of the character from the film and is available in a slightly closed-mouth clean version and an open-mouthed bloody version. The figure's success was, of course, tied to the movie's success, which it wasn't. Bonus points, though, for looking like Werewolf Han Solo. Perhaps more people read my Mos Eisley Cantina fanfic than I thought. Number 5 is 2005 Hasbro Spider-Man Classics Man-Wolf. He's packed with articulation, including double-jointed elbows and knees, ab crunch, toe and finger hinges, and unfortunately, those frustrating Toy Biz ball joint hips. He's got great Toy Biz era sculpt and paint details, but most importantly, Manwolf has an electronic light up and sound effect howling action feature activated by the space pack that plugs into his back. The pack is there to activate the electronic gimmick, but also makes him look even more like a spacefaring werewolf, which is turning into a theme on this list. Number 4 is 2006 SOTA Toys Dog Soldiers Werewolf. Based on the werewolves from the 2002 movie Dog Soldiers, with a plot that I'm going to boil down to a small team of British soldiers versus a small team of werewolves in the Highlands of Scotland. This 8 to 9 inch figure is, again, more about sculpting and paint details over articulation, but it does come with alternate heads, opened and closed mouth, and in 2 different color schemes. There's a brown version and a gray version, depending on your werewolf needs, and it comes with a base that features some grisly details, like the miscellaneous guts and stuff in the pool of blood in front of him, but more importantly has 2 pegs that the werewolf can stand on, so he's not constantly falling over trying to stay balanced on his tiny wolf toes. Number 3 is 2000's More Action Collectibles Buffy the Vampire Slayer Previews exclusive Oz. It's not about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never seen the movie. I never watched the shows. I've never read the comics. I don't know anything about the character Oz or how werewolves work in that universe, or how much time he's actually in full werewolf makeup. It's not about Seth Green. I know he's involved with action figures through Robot Chicken and his own personal collection. This is about one very simple thing: werewolf with an electric guitar. I wouldn't necessarily rank Werewolf with Electric Guitar over Werewolf Jedi, but we're talking about the quality of the figures here, and this figure is more posable with a pretty cool cemetery diorama stand and an electric guitar. There's no such thing as an official Teen Wolf action figure. If there was, it would be right here, so for now, this is basically the next best thing. Number 2 is 2015 Diamond Select Universal Monsters Wolfman. Diamond Select released their first Wolfman, an 8 inch scale figure. Diamond Select released their first Wolfman. It should be released their first 8 inch scale Wolfman figure back in 2009. I'll fix it. I'll do it live. Diamond Select Universal Monsters Wolfman. Diamond Select released their first 8 inch scale Wolfman figure back in 2009 as a Toys R Us exclusive. It was well sculpted, looked like Lon Chaney, came with a display case. Why is that me up so much? If any of this stays in, put the me high-fiving myself gif in, because I fixed it live. Number 2 is 2015 Diamond Select Universal Monsters Wolfman. Diamond Select released their first 8 inch scale Wolfman figure back in 2009 as a Toys R Us exclusive. It was a well-sculpted figure, looked just like Lon Chaney, came with a display base, and even had an Entertainment Earth exclusive version that was painted black and white, just like the original movie, but they were pretty limited in articulation. Plenty of figure, not a lot of action, which, by the way, is the first single off my new album. It was way more difficult than it needed to be. For the second release, 6 years later, Diamond added more joints without sacrificing any of the sculpted details, which is exactly what you would want from such a well-known licensed property. And at number 1 is 2015 Creatureplica, Horrorhound, Rougarou, and Ghostwolf. Creatureplica is a brand that is relatively new to the action figure market, but the creator behind it, Jean St. Jean, you say Jean St. John or Jean St. Jean? Jean St. John. Jean St. Jean? He's been designing and sculpting various statues and action figures for years, everything from DC Direct to McFarlane Toys to Mezco to Diamond Select. There are very few of your favorite characters that he hasn't worked on. Creatureplica focuses on creatures of urban legend like Bigfoot, the Yeti, and werewolves, and those 3 specifically featured heavily in the first wave of figures. Horrorhound is the result of Axis experiments on a US infantryman. He's essentially a Frankensteined undead werewolf soldier. I've got cryptozoological Yahtzee! Rougarou is a legendary manwolf creature that roams the swamps of Cajun country in Louisiana. All 3 figures are built on a similar body. While Rougarou and Ghostwolf share the same sculpt with different paint decoration, Horrorhound has additional details that show off the composited undead nature. Bullet holes, staples hold him together, sinew and intestines are exposed. Both Rougarou and Ghostwolf have articulated ears and jaw. All 3 pieces stand out above other werewolf offerings in terms of their physical details and articulation, and on top of that, they are original creations by a company that is passionate about making an interesting figure and not leaning on a previously existing license, something that this industry, that all pop culture, could use a lot more of. Those are the 10 best werewolf action figures, a list that spans 40 years of action figure innovations and the continued persistent influence of moon-induced monster transformation throughout our movies, TV, toys, and comics. Thanks for watching. Please don't hesitate to give this video a like. Subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/toygalaxy, and let us know in the comments below who your favorite werewolf is. The one that scared me the most as a kid, and I'm not afraid to admit this, Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. I was too young, and that transformation was far too real at the time. It's easy to look at it now and see a kitty cat and a Letterman jacket, but when you're 8 years old, there's a lot you still don't know about visual effects technology, and the gaps get filled in with undiluted fear. Have you ever seen that video?
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Cut.